It should be a Tidebound favored game, but the draft does feel nicer for Navi, if only marginally so.
That it does. I mean, I have a lot of faith in this draft from Navi, I'm going to say, John. It's hard to just call the draft, though. I mean, it is going to be a lot about what happens in the game. And I think something I'd like to see a lot from Navi is what we saw earlier on in our previous series from the Yakutou Brothers. And that's just making sure these camps in the triangle just can't get stacked. You know, just ensure there's support with sentry wards ready, available whenever to ensure that those stacks never happen. And by the time you get the blink up on the Shaker, it's around the same time POS 4 Shaker would have got it. So it doesn't really feel like you're playing against the core anymore.
Yeah. We'll have to see if Zayats can get that done. I think that's going to be the key part. Can he kind of sneak away? It is a QoP matchup, so theoretically it shouldn't be too ugly for Ursa, but a ranged matchup versus melee matchup in favor of QoP is always nice. This should be... I'm expecting this for Bach to be a Shadow Strike lane, as he kind of wants the utility. He wants to be able to poke and prod, make it awkward to kind of just leave Got the Juice alone, to open up that triangle a bit more. I mean, if he does go for the Scream of Pain build, I wouldn't mind. The Flash form coming in for QoP's going to be nice, but it feels like in a side lane scenario, you might be happier with Shadow Strike here overall, because you don't really have the sustain to spam Scream of Pain anyhow without like easy water rune access. A bit of a late smoke out from Navi. See if they can manage to get anything going. Already some early wards though to spot a good smoke break here if Tidebound has position, but they're not even running into that area anyhow.
Both sides run the opposite way. I mean, you know Navi wants this level 1 fight though. They've got an Undying, they've got a Primal, got a Pugna, rather not a Pugna, but you're happy to fight if you can force the fight against Tidebound, but it doesn't seem like they're too interested in giving the opportunity over. They might contest for this top bounty rune. Nothing to say, is hanging around. It doesn't really seem like anyone's in position to try and force a fight. You have Shiro move in as well. And they will get away with a 2-for-2 trade anyway on the bounty rune. So no fight to break out here at this level 1 mark. You do have that awkward kind of scenario, though, if you're nothing to say. He's up against the mid Undying of Niku. Niku knows his hero like the back of his hand, and on top of that, it's a Shaker versus Undying. So this theoretically shouldn't be the best time in the world for nothing to say.
No, it shouldn't. I mean, he still has some opportunities to see us. Of course, with the Enchant Totem, but as a level scale on, Niku at level 3 is going to be looking to make a real big power play with a kill opportunity, perhaps. If you shove the lane too hard and nothing to say, you're going to get just dive with some good tombstone placement. You can also just push really hard Niku to get that dive going your way. Bit of a mic test coming out from Got the Juice. You know, these Navi boys are a little bit sassy.
They are sassy, John. Very, very cocky boys as well, as I like to always say, or at least Niku is. Not sure what Niku did for me to keep referring to him as a cocky player. He's literally never talks to us, John. But in fact, he does talk to us, I might add.
He does talk to us.
I should say, he's a very
We never
friendly
approach
guy.
him first, too. Yeah, he's just pointing at us. It's like, hey, you guys. And tells you to shut up.
For whatever reason. He does tell you to shut up. It's fun. I love this guy for that reason.
Yeah.
He literally just tells you to shut up as soon as he sees you. It's great.
Yeah, it's great. He's going with a bit, you know. How many players ever go with our bits? No one does. No one cares enough to follow a bit, except Niku. God bless him. Still, into the game we go. Finally getting game. It almost feels like Southeast Asia here with all the pauses we've had. Fortunately, we're getting going. You know, still. Like you were saying, a mid matchup shouldn't be too amazing, but nothing to say is working that Enchant Totem quite nicely. Again, it's a lot of harassment to apply onto Niku, and it's not like Niku is getting a lot of strength, like he's decaying 1. It's not like he's getting ultra durable to kind of deploy himself forward. Yeah, he can kind of trade. It's very mana costly as well for him. It's cheaper for nothing to say. Oh, with the enchant, although gotta be careful about that little bite there.
Almost. Even the little hand wave at the end. Little hand wave, little cheeky hand wave to wave him goodbye, and you know, it is what it is. Nothing to say. Still surviving, still CSing just fine, but as the levels do go up, as you can see, John, it is going to get much more challenging, and level 2 decay finally deals a bit of does a lot more damage, and well, this is where things can get a little bit more intimidating. How have the side lanes been going? Shiro's having a great old time up at top lane by the looks of it on this SF. Complete free farm, no real contest to be had. You don't really anticipate he's going to be in too much danger later on either.
No. This lane does take a while to get going for the Problem Beast, especially here for PMA. Like playing into SF, there's a lot of magic damage as you're trying to charge in. Presence of the Dark Lord. You're not a high armor hero on Problem Beast, so every single minus armor you're getting for free here for Shiro just amplifies that rougher laning presence here overall. And you have a tanky front line for the SF to play behind in the Ogre Magi. So just a little bit trickier. Maybe by, say, level 4, I would say, is when you start to get a little bit comfier on Primal Beast. Maybe you get that value point in the Uproar and get the level 2 Trample up. And can start to consider some plays. It's just really hard to see that spacing. And for the SF, you're not looking for aggression. You're looking for free farm. You're finding it in spades here up top. Every lane, actually, for the side of Tidebound, looking like it's going pretty well, except for box lane, but this is the lane that we'd expect that to fall a little bit short. Yes, the Quap can kind of harass back. You can hold the Ursa back from aggression, but the dagger doesn't really stop him from farming. You have a Pugna to back you up as well. There's no real big kill threat to slow down, and you don't have a farming pace without that Scream of Pain up because you are forced to go for a 3-1-1 build by 5 here for Bach. So you aren't going to be farming up too quick. You are slowing down the Ursa quite nicely, but Got the Juice is still finding that farm. The one big thing is that you are still open in your triangle. Zayat isn't able to block out the medium camp at least. The Ancient's blocked off, can still hurt, but you don't even have the time for Planet to stack because of how high pressure that lane is for the Quap. You can't even just sit back and try to build stack for the Shaker. So that is something to be cautious about on the side of Tidebound. You would want those stacks, as you mentioned. They are starting now, at least on that camp, and that is the easy access one for Planet anyhow. So even just the large medium camp being stacked up, going to be a big boon if you can find that here for Nothing to Say for free.
Well, no kills across the map yet. Has been some close calls in the mid lane, but not quite close enough. Props to Nothing to Say, by the way, John. He's actually ahead in CS. He's been doing a very good job of just securing with Fisher whenever he has the chance, and it has been working out for him. Niku has been trying to amp up the damage a little bit and the harassment a little bit, but it's kind of just low on mana at the moment, so Nothing to Say. Still able to secure the farm he's been looking for. No rotations to come in either. They're just allowing the mid lane to go the way it is, so I guess Navi not concerned about the even style of matchup that has happened. You don't really have those kind of supports to rotate anyway, I suppose, with the Disrupted Dazzle. So
No.
It's just one of those things, just a very stale kind of laning stage right now between these two sides.
And it is. I think with that staleness, though, you really would want to get a little bit more from these side lanes. Again, PMA has been having a pretty slow start. Got the Juice has been ramping up a little bit more, which is good to see. This Ursa timing into at least the phase boots and some components of Battle Fury should be pretty much on par. Again, not much you can expect from Bach in slowing that down. It's just a matter of, have you done enough on Niku and Min? It just doesn't feel like he has. Again, there is still space here for Nothing to Say, just playing with Enchant Totem and playing with the Aftershock. Like, this is something we've seen from a lot of mid-shakers now, just maxing out Aftershock versus 113 is the build-up we've seen in the past day. And it is doing quite a fair bit when you do walk up and try to decay and try to apply that pressure. It makes it a little bit more difficult to go for that full commitment in.
Both safe lanes at the moment, having a great old time in terms of CS. You've got the Juice that's about 4 CS behind Shiro at the moment. To be expected though, I mean it's an SF with literally no contest here up this top lane. Just being an absolute nuisance here is Shiro. PMA, of course, nothing he can really do about it until the levels do come up on this Primal Beast. And that is kind of the thing with this draft of Na'Vi, right? Like, it does start to really feel strong around, say, the 15-minute mark. And it's just... Till then, you're just not really... You don't have much to play with.
No. It's going to take a little bit more in the ramp up. Power Rune's coming in. At very least, Riddies tries to contest, but Nothing to Say does get his bottle topped up. A nice little sneaky invis as well. Doesn't quite have 6 tried to play just yet, though.
They do hang around the mid lane. Of course, that was just to secure the power rune of Nothing to Say. PMA copping a fair bit of damage up top lane, but won't die. Certainly not feeling very comfortable, though, that's for sure. You do still see Planet hanging around just a little bit in that mid lane, but eventually he will leave. Just seems like Bark doesn't really need the help anymore with that level 1 blink up. Feeling relatively safe on the Quap. It seems like Planet finally has a bit of time to get those stacks going. There are no ancient stacks being made quite as of yet, as it looks like that camp was blocked. Rotations up top, not really going to amount to anything. There's nothing to say with the Invis not finding the angle. Maybe he could try mid. He's got Echo up. But no, they'll miss out on the angle. Niku probably would have been slightly too tanky anyway to really hope for that kill.
Be just a tad bit optimistic. The static state of game does heavily favor Tidebound, though. Again, you were mentioning this later timing coming up for NAVI. I feel like they want that to be a bit faster. You know, normally with Primal Beast, you want to have a very aggressive lane. Maybe this is the start. No, they don't commit on to why either, though.
No, it's a very, very quiet start again. 7.5 minutes in. Can't really blame them. Like, the way these lanes have panned out, like, they are just very static, and both sides know that they can't actually initiate. Like, both offlaners can do nothing against the safe lanes right now. You're seeing PMA just trying to retreat. He may get caught out here by Y, but no, not within range for the Fire Blast. You're not concerned, though. I mean, Shiro's just having the freest game of his life right now. No contest for this SF. And that is a pretty scary kind of pacing here in the farm department for Shiro.
That it is. He's already sieging on that top tier 1 by himself. PMA can't run up. Like, again, he has no points in Uproar. He has no armor. He's -1 with tower buff on him, which is not great for that Primal Beast. At least, again, a kill opportunity for Shiro can't really show up either. And the side of Tidebound, they're happy enough to just sit back and farm. They already cleared out the big stacks here with nothing to say with a slam. So phase boots are up for our Shaker, and the Blink on its way to being farmed up next.
Now.
Maybe now?
We might have a first, but I think we do, John, because you've got Glimpse up. You're committed. Y gonna get pulverized. No help to come. In fact, Fisher does land, but Y does go down. Now a big onslaught in from PMA. No follow-up yet. They've got to be a little bit careful about these decays stacking up from Niku, because it seems like they need to leave with this tombstone. Rather, no tombstone, but just the decays being such a nuisance. But now Niku, he's in trouble. Sonic Wave to land, but the Shallow Grave will keep him alive. He does still have Shadow Strike applied, but is going to heal himself up. And so they will get away with first blood. Surprisingly enough, that's all they felt.
Yeah, you're seeing how cautious the side of NAVI is. They show a lot of respect for the fissures coming in from nothing to say. They maybe expect that slam is still there. They don't quite see, of course, that he's already slammed out some stacks. So they just don't want to be in that clump up. They know that they're not durable enough yet on PM to run in. I think the big benefit here for NAVI is that all of this action happens away from God the Juice. So again, this Ursa is being left alone. This build-up into the Battle Fury is lining up pretty darn good. And once you do have this Battle Fury into, say, this Blink BKB, that's when things start to kind of line up for the rest of the timings here for NAVI. Your damage is going to start to rock up. You're going to have to start pushing at that point. But before that point, you know, it's going to be a farming game. Again, this is a farming game that Tidebound doesn't feel too bad about. You have sacrificed Nothing Say's initial farm. Bach has managed to recover. Already has the earn. No charges yet, unfortunately, but going into the Spirit Vessel next as well to cut off some of that sustain coming in from Arides and from Niku. Just will need a kill to get that going. Up top, a little bit of poke again on PMA, but they've ridden through the rough point here for the side of NAVI, at least in terms of PMA's lane. A bit of a smoke out now for Niku. He does have that value point in Tombstone up. Maybe can go for a bigger commitment in some of these fights now.
They're coming. Bottom lane is where they'll go. They run right into Planet in just a second. Planet shouldn't really have the greatest way out of here, but he will start to life drain to be a bit of a nuisance. Of course, they'll hold on to the Glimpse for now. The zombies keeping up the vision onto Planet, but he will decrepify, drag him back with the Glimpse, but it's just not enough. They're not committing. Eventually, though, they will get Planet. But of course, they are going to lose Zayats in the process as Niku, just trying to run out of there, will be forced to pop the Flesh Golem. And is in fact going to try and look for a way to fight back, but he is just being kited away. Spark will now jump in with the Shadow Strike being a bit of a nuisance. But it amounts to nothing. Just a 1-for-1 support trade between these two sides.
Oh, you're seeing how much it takes, though, from the side of Navi to even find that kill. And Pugna is just so disruptive. You have the decreps, you have that life drain to just keep that going as well. Just so much HP to have to dig through HP regen you have to counteract. And I guess the one benefit, again, is that Got the Juice's farming that was in his area, so it wasn't the safest for him to just work the lane, unfortunately. In comparison, you are giving so much free space out to Shiro. Like, this SF, still #1 in that word, has complete control of his camps behind his tier 1. No fear of any sort of gate movement, no fear of any sort of early aggression. And that is really the rub here. Like, yes, you're farming in your Ursa. You know, he's keeping up the pre-Battle Fury is pretty darn good. But can you get enough into that Battle Fury timing? You know, is Sheer going to be willing to join in, say, after a quick Dragonlance? Because that's when the early spike for SF kicks in. Just Mask of Madness, Dragonlance coming up, and he's not too far off from that second item coming up here. For Na'Vi, it just doesn't feel like they've found enough with this Undying mid. Again, there's still a lot of room to grow. There's a Blade Mail that's going to be coming up next. There's a BKB queued up afterwards here for Niku. But now you have to play into that full Spirit Vessel. That you have no easy dispels here. That healing induction will do wonders for the fights in Tidebound.
We're gonna try again for Planet. Planet's got plenty of help incoming, but drop the Static Storm. And Planet, he's left on an island of his own, so he's just gonna die. They'll take the Tombstone as the trade. It's really not that big of a deal at all for either side. That'll be about it. I still think you should probably be a little bit concerned about how well Shiro is farming in the meantime, because he's well and truly ahead of anybody else right now in this SF. But it seems like they are maintaining faith in Got the Juice to get the job done. And, well, in fairness to Got the Juice, he hasn't got a Battle Fury yet. So his farm is set to escalate very soon.
And it is. And again, considering that lack of the Battle Fury, this farm pace is really good for Na'Vi. It's not as dire as one would expect here. It just doesn't feel great when you're not really finding these early clump ups that the Undying would really leverage. The Undying and the Prowling Beast to an extent would really leverage quite nicely here. They're just doing a fine job of waiting here on Tidebound for the side of Na'Vi to come in, trying to punish, kind of willing to trade. Blink up now for nothing to say, so the Blink Slam is ready. The Blink, even just Blink Fissure is coming out to cut off. Blink Enchant Totem to cut off. Can start to be a little bit of a concern. And this should be the signal now for Tidebound to go for that smoke. They will. 2 supports with nothing to say. Swing around. Oh.
Here we go. Niku jumped. Echo committed immediately, and they've got him. Very nice pickup. Blink reveal for nothing to say. No kind of contest for it either. Riddies just could not react quick enough to save him. Will, of course, be up immediately as the Undying, thanks to that Ceaseless Dirge, and they are going to try and smoke up and go again. Still got the amp damage room bottle up as well as this Undying. But Tidebound being very cautious not to give the opportunity for another fight. And even Shiro backing off at the right moment, realizing that something might be a little bit wrong.
A good scan right at that point on the smoke and just kind of hold back. I mean, Na'Vi, it's the right call to make. They know Slam's down. They know they have an opportunity. It's just very telegraphed as well, considering. And there's not much you can really do about it at this point. Again, your big benefit is that Battle Fury's up and Got the Juice. The network gap is insignificant at this point. 200 gold lead for Shiro. So your timings are lining up, and this is where, again, earlier on, this Ursa can be a little bit more of a menace, especially as the Dunk BKB starts to become a reality. I'm going to be trading away top for a little bit of a siege on mid, and Tidebound aren't willing to fight into this area, so much more significant map control coming the way of Na'Vi. Mind you, this is the first tier 1 tower they've taken, so the side lanes are still secure, but the deeper jungle is now a little bit more susceptible to some movement here from Niku and company if they want to make that move around. Tidebound, though, again, when you consider the draft, you consider the heroes they have, they're still happy. Like, eventually Got the Juice will start to overtake with that Battle Fury up, and again, the Blink is starting to approach here. But you still have to play around this. You still have to find this opportunity to take a team fight into Roshan, or find a way to sneak in Roshan first. Not too easy up against the experience of Tidebound, who will be looking at that timing as well. still trying to hunt into that triangle, but Tidebound are just so disciplined, just not giving any free opportunity away.
I mean, it doesn't look pretty, but it certainly is very effective. They are going to see why now, but why is a tanky boy? And the TP rotations are just so quick, there's nothing to say with a beautiful Fisher. Sonic Wave is going to barely be there. Niku in big trouble, trying to run away, gets healed up just barely, but can't get out in the end. Perfect setup from Nothing to Say, a fantastic Fisher. Even the glimpse back on Barkin, the fact that he basically missed that Sonic Wave, it just didn't matter.
No. Really doesn't. And the key issue right now for NAVI is that it feels like they only have one quarter playing around, and it's only Niku. Right? Like, you're not ready to go yet on Got the Juice, which is to be expected. But PMA as well isn't ready. Maybe now with a BKB?
Planet.
Find a bit of a freebie at least.
They do get something, but it's always just Planet on that Pos 5 Pugner, and it's rather Pos 4 Pugner, and it's not really meaning too much in the end. It feels like Tidebound is still relatively happy. The one concerning point maybe is this Ursa now. Got the Juice is starting to overtake.
That he is. And again, the farm pace kicks in with this Battle Fury blink up. It's just a question of can they find the opportunity to translate, say, Battle Fury blink BKB into Roshan. I mean, maybe again with this BKB on PMA, Niku actually has some backup to play with, because in a void, this Undying alone just does not do enough.
Trying to force a fight now. Nothing to Say actually very, very low already. Will barely survive. Glimpsing back into the Sonic Wave though, rather blinking in. Did he blink in or get glimpsed in? He must have got glimpsed. Yeah, he did. Alright, never mind. Mid lane. They do go in with the pulverize. Bark's gonna be alright. So very nice. You get Nothing to Say. They'll jump in again. They want a bit more. Planet will go down. Has got the Juice. He's a very tanky target. They'll try to heal him up, though. He's a bit too excited, it seems like. They'll drop the Tombstone to try and protect. Sonic Wave, though, is going to land on two. Bark with a perfect angle. But can he get away now? The Blink's on cooldown for a while. They'll channel the Requiem. Niku gets hit. Niku's down. Oh, NAVI getting a little bit too excited. They didn't have to jump back in, but they do. And they get punished heavily for it.
Yeah, that's a step too far there for good old Got the Juice. Not really fully respecting all of this turn that Tidebound still had. I mean, they commit so much to just chase one. They didn't have enough in the tank to try to get the saves going on the re-engage, on the retreat at the very least. And that's a massive win for Shiro. I mean, he's getting free Necromastery stacks beyond 20 now. He's got his BKB up. His timings are starting to be online. He's number one off the back of that kind of trade. And for the side of NAVI, I'd say this is where, again, maybe some of that youth is showing, right? Like, they're much more willing to take these risks. They're much more willing to play it hard and fast, but sometimes you just have to relax. You take the win where you can find it. You go back, reset, keep building that lead up. Now you have to deal with an SF that is just absolutely loaded. With the BKB up, the only thing that can counteract that is PMA and his own BKB. And whether or not PMA can actually charge into Shiro remains to be seen. He's been very disciplined in this match. He's been hanging back. He's been letting the rest of his team show up first, and he's hanging around looking for a Requiem opportunity. You know, looking for an angle in where he's not under fire. Free Tormentor taken as well for Tidebound. A nice protective shard to come in from Y. That Fire Shield can buy them some time in, you know, getting an opportunity back and getting some saves out for themselves. It gets risky for NAVI. 6-9, very nice scoreline with a 4K lead up for Tidebound. NAVI. And the BKB forgot the Juice is still lining up, but it's looking harder and harder for them to find that teamfight win into a quick rush. It feels like that timing's slowly slipping away from them. And it feels like if you don't find that initial tempo from the Ursa pick with these objective takes, then you really miss a lot of your power. It makes it harder to look for those opportunities later on here.
Here we go. They're going to see an easy target, and Riddy's getting spotted and taken down very quickly here thanks to Shiro, and of course the setup of Nothing to Say. And of course that tier 2 top tower not going to be lasting very long. Slowly but surely they'll get it done. Like you said, NAVI not quite in a position to force the fight. They will not try at all to defend. But you are at risk now of losing this first Roshan attempt if Tidebound really want to commit. But it seems like Tidebound, no, in fact, they are committing. It seems like they will start to prep around the area. But you do have NAVI around as well. They're not going to let this go for free. Netherwood was dropped preemptively just in case. A bit of a smoke as well from NAVI. They'll wrap around through to the mid lane. Nothing to say would be a very nice target though. He's got Echo. They've got to be a little bit careful. So they'll wrap around through the mid lane. They are underneath vision as we speak. Buck's going to move in and try to bait them in. Kinetic Field going to give the vision. Arcane Rune somehow picked up by Shiro on the middle of all this. And now the Fisher! Onto 3 again! Oh, it just keeps happening. It just keeps happening over and over again. Nothing to say. The perfect angle every time. What are you going to do against that, John?
I mean, you've got to be a little bit more disciplined. I think, again, it's that matter of experience versus relative inexperience coming in. You know, they're getting hasty and NAVI. They get enveloped quite nicely. They get funneled in. The slam wasn't even perfect. Like, the angle, your AoE is wide enough from Nothing Say that he could hang back. I don't think you get the full echoes coming in. And he's still getting the work done, getting that damage in for his team. Roshan, as you mentioned, with that fight loss, easy rush to take for Tidebound. This is something that's devastating for Navi's draft. With his Ursa not having access to first Rosh, it just feels like that tempo has kind of slipped away, right? Like, you didn't see Niku dominate the mid matchup. Nothing Say was very smart with a shaker. They still had access to their large medium camp in the triangle as well. And now is the point where you get a little bit scared. You do have, again, the BKB up on Got the Juice, BKB up on PMA, and eventually a BKB for Niku. But I don't think that matters when Shiro is going to be right-clicking so hard. Has the Crystallis up, has the Daedalus coming in next. This SF is ultra-farmed at this point in the game, and you are not going to be sustaining into that physical output of Shiro anytime soon. Like, there is no easy answer for this guy unless he's completely isolated in a vacuum away, somehow, all by himself.
D2 tower now going to be targeted and taken by Tidebound. No contest whatsoever. Something tells me we'll probably see a shaker ban next game around. Wouldn't quite blame them for that. I mean, this was against that mid Undying as well to make matters worse. And Nothing to Say, he won the lane. I mean, you sure he was abusing Fisher from a range to secure creeps, but he won the lane, John. He found a way.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't look that hard. Smoke up. Pretty obvious smoke, to be fair, but it won't matter too much. They just want to hide behind Shiro. Shiro will get all the work done that's required. So they are going to find Niku to start with. Fisher is going to land, and already half his HP is gone. BKB also popped preemptively from PMA, but he's found nothing. Pulverize eventually out, but the Aeon Disc is going to save Nothing to Say. He had it. He just got it, in fact. So nothing working out. That's one BKB down at the very least, and Tombstone's gone at boot. Sonic Wave is out, almost killing off Riddies in the meantime. Does he even make it back to the fountain? He does. But it's just so tough to try and find a way to defend this bottom racks. Shiro's the last of your worries. He's not even trying to hit them. At least you've still got a tier 2 top mid tower to defend with. So you don't have to be worried about that mid racks going down nor the top for now.
No. I mean, it's still early days, 25 minutes in, a good siege coming out from Tidebound. They still have that Aegis for a good 2.5 minutes as well. Like, NAVI, I mean, I appreciate their attempts, but it's so costly. BKBs at the very least, half a minute away. Not too bad. You are just going to be losing these tier 2s at this point. And there's still, again, a huge window for Tidebound to just re-engage. They have not expended anything. Requiem can come out in 40 seconds. Next BKB uses as well, lining up with Navi's own BKBs. Slam still ready on Nothing to Say. How do you stop this? It just doesn't feel like you have the answers for Navi. They needed to be winning earlier. And this position is just almost untenable for them to kind of hold their ground here.
Yeah, very, very tough position now. And again, like, you just Shiro frontlining like this. He's not the target you want to start with. You want to find the back. You want to find this ES or this quad, but Shiro's the man standing in your way, and he's still got a minute and a half on the Aegis, so he might just commit for the Megas, knowing they can't really stop him as long as his team is standing right behind him. But they will look to retreat. So the top wave was forced out anyway, so they won't take the risk of trying to force the top tier 3 tower without a creep wave coming in. But they do look to cut off perhaps PMA. But he was not. Oh, in fact, he's jumping in. With the BKB out, he's going to try and jump in and force the fight.
There's the damage.
It's not going to be enough yet. Is it a lot of damage, though? Here comes the Ursa now taking down Buck. Planet down a boot. It looks like the setup does actually end up working out now as Y does go down, but they'll move in into Got the Juice. Got the Juice. Can he keep it going? It looks like he can. Nothing to say is down, but now the Sonic Wave is out taking down the Ursa. The PMA. I mean, it was a fantastic start to the fight, all things being said and done. But it's still not really quite enough.
No, I love that read as well from Tidebound. Going for more, but buying back on 3 to hold that position. When you get some value from that fresh null, you still have buyback here for Got the Juice, but with no BKBs.
Yeah, Nico looking pretty dead to me. Does have the Ceaseless Dirge, though. He's fine to come back. No buyback gold available here for Nico. Aegis about to expire in 10 though, so they'll look for the reset on Tidebound. Glimpsed him back, however. The timing's very nice. Still 3 seconds to go. They're just waiting. There's the line train. Here comes Got the Juice. Big onslaught out as well from PMA. On a 4 targets. There goes Shiro. They found the big one. And now they can go for more. Y is down. Bark will blink out of there. So they'll take the SF. They'll take the Ogre. There's not mega creeps up yet. They've got 1 Rax left standing here for NAVI.
Yeah, they're hanging in. They managed to get die back at very least. They get some good punishment out. A huge gold swing just off that kill on Shiro. 5k to compensate NAVI. And you are starting to see some answers, right? Like, Got the Juice has that damage. He's got the output necessary for the team. He's got the nullifier to prevent the saves as well. Taking care of that Aeon Disc, taking care of that decrep. The issue is looking for these angles. It is looking like PMA is getting comfier and comfier to engage, to take the front line for the team. He's been holding back quite a fair bit. It's been Niku just running in as the Undying, trying to hope for the best, but having this Primal Beast actually take a stand is starting to provide some opportunities. The issue is your 2 racks is down. Right? Your 2 racks is down. You need to look for opportunities. The next Roshan still a minute 40 away until the instant respawn. So it's still a long ways to go. You can't take some quick, easy, big objectives to secure the next movement out. Maybe you start to think about some tier 2s to come in, but the lanes aren't shoved out hard enough. And again, you're up against super creep, so it's easier said than done. Even up top, they're not looking for the commitment from Navi with quick respawns on Tidebound. They need to find a fight like that again, which means they kind of need to sit back and wait a little bit until Tidebound's going a little bit further out, or if they can play in an area where they can establish vision, which isn't much at this moment. Not too many areas with wards right now for the side of Navi. What the big thing Navi can't allow though is the next Roshan to go away again. So they have to wait for next Rosh, try to take a fight closer to the respawn time, hope for a quick timer, and get that objective for themselves. If they can find Roshan somehow off of a pick-off or fight, and that's going to be an opportunity. You know, the high ground can start knocking. You do have damage on the Ursa to dig through that. Their backline is starting to get a little bit more protected as well. Riddies is, you know, if you can hang back with that Nodal projection, if you can get a shard up somehow, having that quick save, a last-minute quick save on Shallow Grave, can really turn things around here for the side of Navi, but it's easier said than done. They are blessed with an amp damage rune as well. And that's going to provide a little bit of a smile on Got the Juice's face. And they have equalized. Again, this net worth lead from around 7k has dropped back down to 5. It's a manageable position outside of just the super creeps constantly shoving in. They just need to find an opening somehow in Navi.
They're looking, John. They're looking. Find a courier here from Planet. Moment also taken here. 3 shards for the Pugner. I wonder how Tidebound are feeling now. Like, Might be maybe a little bit concerned about the comeback potential that is available here. Is now Nothing to Say has a full refreshable orb up, but so does PMA. So you do have one on either side now. And of course, we did see this Primal Beast proving to be an absolute menace if you can get the right initiation in. Roshan is going to be available. It doesn't seem like NAVI are going to be quite in a position to try and contest if Tidebound do get it started. See if they can make it there in time.
They have to. The side of Tidebound as well is waiting for NAVI to come in. They've got a really good position on the high ground. NAVI has to fight into this area.
Niku's not even there. Keep in mind, Niku's just pushing out the top wave, so you're missing your Undying to begin with to boot. They come, Jump is there, Pulverize is out. They caught Shiro on the SF. They have the refresh as well, so they go a secondary time. Can they save him? Shiro, he's still alive, just barely. With the Decrepify, he kept him alive, but no! The onslaught is enough. Shiro is down. So is your wife, Ogre, as they do pop a big sonic wave from Buck, but it's still not proving to be quite enough as they're continuing to try and deal with this Ursa. He'll get the heals out, the Tombstone even from Niku, buying a bit of time here for this Ursa as the Echo Slam, Nothing to Say. Taking down Niku, taking down Riddies and PMA. And guess what, John? There's still one man left standing. And that's going to be your Ursa. Got the juices down, and so is Zayat. And he still has nothing to say here, John. No words being spoken.
No words necessary, you know, this build-up, this quick refresh, him getting angled out, finding that TP in, not really being pressured on mid, still having the chance to jump back into that fight, makes a difference. You have 2.5 minutes without buyback here, forgot the juice. He is just, there's nothing to save you for the next minute and a half. You've got a quicker respawn coming in for Shiro, and the racks are not going to last long. You've got damage with nothing to say. This is an ugly spot for NAVI. They forced that fight hard. It looked decent to start with, but not decent enough. I mean, they had to commit everything just to kill one on Shiro. That leaves a window for Nothing to Say. That leaves a window for Bach, and you had to cop a lot of damage. That healing coming out from Mask of Madness from Shiro was massive. Like, he almost just lived through if they didn't have enough control there. And now Roshan's open. With no Ursa for 50, you can just easily take the Rosh, get the banner, look for the end game onto the tier 4. It's NAVI. They have to play their cards right in the next game. It's just hard to see how much more you can hope for, right? Because they got the perfect opening. They isolated Shiro. They got the double Pulverize on him, but it just takes a little bit too long. Even the Basher kind of kicking in at the right time there from Got the Juice, and it just didn't feel like they had an opportunity to jump elsewhere quick enough.
Here we go again. Now you're up against Mega Creeps with the Aegis up on Shiro. And now the game certainly in a position where it starts to feel pretty impossible for NAVI. It's certainly... They're not out of it yet. They can make the comeback happen. We've seen it before, but this will be a big one if they can. The Tidebound, I mean, not really rushing to try and force high ground. Of course, they have plenty of time on the Aegis to just... You know, just wait it out. Just torch them a little bit in the Radiant base. Pick up some items. Come back another time.
Yeah. And there's no pressure. They've found all the objectives. They're in a happy spot. They know there's some fight left in NAVI. Like, the siege onto the high ground can go badly if they don't find the right targets. And again, if Shiro's isolated away somehow. They do have enough control. In fact, you might actually... managed to get the farm and Got the Juice to get the full Abyssal Blade up as well for additional control to help follow through. Just a matter of, will he want to bypass buyback, which is in 10 seconds. It's a high risk. He's only 200 gold off once that's up, and I don't know. Even with the buyback though, will he have enough? Niku!
Oh boy, no. Well, that's one way to start it. Nothing to say. Immediately getting rid of the Undying. Sees the Sturge though was there. He's still 140 gold short of buyback gold here for the Undying though, so he needs to be a little bit on the cautious side for Niku. But he's going to find a way to protect these tier 4 towers. And in they go. Fire blast out. Look at the HP removal coming in. He'll barely survive for now, but the jump is there again. The Sonic Wave not going to quite do enough. Meanwhile, in the back, they're trying to jump. At least the SF, but they've gone onto the Shaker instead. They'll try for nothing to say. He's going to refresh orb up. He'll commit it immediately. Meanwhile, PMA trying now for Buck instead, but he can't do it. Not as his own. It seems like this Ursa got the juice. He's got to run out of there. He's out of HP. So they'll drop Niku another time, and GG is called. It's a Tidebound, making game one look pretty easy. And props to NAVI, John. There was a couple moments where it felt